very literal way of taking it, you could definitely write about places you've never been. You can explore using your words, and that kind of speaks also to how it says something about imagination in here. The term poet is sometimes used of those who have the imagination, right? So you can imagine up a whole world that you've never even been in, and you're exploring without even leaving your room, just with your pen and paper, right? So in that sense, that's totally, what a poet is. Liz?
I love this definition. Just begin. I feel like it uses words to describe it, to describe what a poet is, and I love it for the fact that it makes it tells you like a poet is just like an artist. An artist has to paint a picture, and the picture can be of whatever it wants, whatever it sees or feels inside and out, or of emotion, or it could be something of reality, of something really literal, or it could be something that you feel like is going to happen, a prediction or something. And this is everything you're putting into this one masterpiece, and you're portraying emotion. Like, even though you give a background story of it, but you're still portraying emotion. I feel like that's exactly what this definition is trying to say.
Very good, very good.
So much. Like it even says, he finds out the quality of an experience, so the emotions, great or trivial, terrible or gay, by talking, perhaps by singing to himself. What do you guys think that means, singing? Do you think they literally mean like he's there in the room by himself singing? And when he's writing the poem, like what does that mean?
Poetry is not just limited to words. So like some people say boxing is a form of poetry, poetry in motion.
Yes.
So poetry is not just confined to just words. It's basically expression. That's the foundation of poetry, expression. So in any which way you can find a way to express yourself, it's poetic.
Very
so
good.
It don't really have to be just words or just music or, confined within that, but you can just go beyond those parameters,
Yes.
And it's crazy because
Beautiful.
it says it right here too, poetic, having the qualities associated with the art of poetry and with the capacities of those who participate in. See also.
Yes, and plus the very first sentence, it says a maker in its first sense who works with words. So, in its first sense you work with words, but in the very first thing it says a maker of expression, a maker of emotion, someone who is poetic, and you don't, like you said, it doesn't have to be limited or confined to words. I think that's the beauty of poetry, is that it doesn't really have any confines. Like, unless you're being very specific about the type of poem and you're placing your own limitations. Like, okay, I'm going to write a haiku, and the haiku has specific limitations, but you can always write a free verse. And like, what is that? The long Greek poem. It's like a whole book like this long, and it's a poem. The Odyssey. Yeah, that's a poem. You know what I'm saying? It's a book like this thick, and it is literally a long poem. There is no, or, a haiku is what, like 3 sentences, 3 lines, or whatever? You know what I'm saying? So, like, the fact that you can have those both exist, and those are both, like, totally valid forms of poetry, it blows my mind. You're a maker, and you don't have any rules, really. I think it's amazing.
The word poet is just a metaphor. Like, if it wasn't a metaphor, you wouldn't have words like poetic or poetical and things like that. Because now you're using, that's an expressive form, and it comes from poet. So like that's like saying, I'm rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, rap is an acronym. Rhythm is poetry. But like poetically, that's an expressive form. Like, rap is what it is, but poet is like more complex.
I love like.
I was just going to say, I have a lot of people who argue, like, because I say I find poetry in everything, and they're like, well, that's just because you're a poet. And I'm like, but if you wanted to, you could be a poet too. Like, what does that even mean? I don't have like a poet license that I went and, applied for with the city and got approved of. Like, if you want to, you can see poetry in the morning dew when you first wake up, you know what I mean? You can do that. And you can see poetry in a dance. You can see poetry in movement. You can see poetry in pain, and that's really up to you. It's perceptive. So let's have Liz, and if anyone else wants to make any last points, then we're gonna just move on.
Just to branch off of what you said, and it's good that I let you go first. it states like it says, it is the bridge between the world and also it is the bridge between the world and himself, across which the reader walks for a livelier, a wider, and a deeper view. That right there and what you just said goes hand to hand, because like that's really what it is. Like you have to look at it, but for us, I can see poetry right now. This table itself, I could make a whole poem talking about a table.
Just about the table,
Just
right?
about
And
the
it'd be
table.
deep. And
Yeah.
nobody would even know you're talking about a table. At the end, it was like, he was talking about the table. I thought you was talking about systematic injustice.
Exactly.
You were talking about the table.
But I thought you was talking about Beyonce and Jay-Z. How you got me up,
You
bro?
know, so it's true. It's definitely true. And that adds a whole nother dynamic. We've just been talking about the poet. When you add in the reader now, you know what I'm saying? It's the bridge in which the reader walks across the bridge that the poet creates. The poet is the maker. He makes the bridge to wherever, however, and the reader now gets to walk across it. Amazing. I think that's a miracle.
They walk
Yeah,
across.
that's miracles.
And when they walk across, you're walking to different emotions. Like it's not even just a one set emotion. It's different emotions and different experiences that you're walking into.
Absolutely. Amazing. Whole new world. So, okay, show of hands. By that definition, who considers themselves a poet?
I think I'm the poet at first.
Okay, somewhat. I see some resistance. Is that a raised hand or is that a pulling on your fitted? Okay. So we're all poets in here by that sense, right? We're all makers, creators, miracle workers. All right, so let's read a little Walt Whitman.
All right.
So I looked in my big book of poetry, the Golden Treasury of Poetry, and I found this poem called Miracles. And I liked it. I thought it was cool. We gonna write better ones, but let's start with this. So one for each of us. Here you are. Here you go. And I think we can all take turns reading. Let's read it together, and then we're gonna have somebody read it all at once. Okay? Sounds good? So, starting with Liz, everybody take 2 lines and then keep going. Add it on until we're finished. Starting with the title.
Alright. So the title in that one line is my 2 lines, or do I get 3 lines?
Say miracle and then say 2 lines. Everybody say 2 lines.
Don't cheat me out now. Don't cheat me out of line. Right.
Miracles. Why who makes much of a miracle? As to me, I know of nothing else but miracles.
Whether I walk the streets of Manhattan or dart my sight over the roofs of houses toward the sky.
Or wade with naked feet along the beach, just in the edge of the water. Or stay under trees in the woods.
Or sit at the table at dinner with the rest. Or look at strangers opposite me riding in the car.
Or watch honeybees busy around the hive of a summer forenoon. Or watch animals feeding in the fields.
Or birds of the wonderfulness of insects in the air, or the wonderfulness of the sundown, or of stars shining so quiet and bright.
Or the exquisite, delicate, thin curve of the new moon in spring. These, with the rest, one and all, are to me miracles.
The whole referring, yet each distant and in its place. To me, every hour of the light and dark is a miracle.
Every cubic inch of space is a miracle. Every square yard of surface of the earth is spared with the
Spread.
Is spread with the same. I was looking at the whole time, I'm like,
You good.
I'm
Keep going.
bugging them things.
Every foot of the interior swarms with the same. To me, the sea is
Continual.
continual miracle.
The fishes that swim, the rocks, the motion of the waves, the ships, with men in them.
What stranger miracles are there?
Ooh, I like how, he would be the perfect person to end anything, because that was just like,
Who, Walt Whitman?
yeah.
He's an interesting guy, right? It's like hopeful, but a little dark, right? All right, so let's read it all together as one. Any volunteers? Yes. Stand up loud and proud. Well, we can read it twice, because I really want us to dissect it and you know, get real into the nitty-gritty meat of it. So we can definitely hear it twice all together, starting with Emmanuel and then Devontae.
Why? Who makes such a miracle? As to me, I know nothing else but miracles. Whether I walk the streets of Manhattan or dart my sight over the roofs of houses toward the sky, or wade with naked feet along the beach just in the edge of water, or stand under the trees in the woods, or sit at a table at dinner with the rest, or look at strangers opposite me riding in the car, or watch honeybees busy around the hive of a summer forenoon, or animals feeding in the fields, or birds, or the wonderfulness of insects in the air, or the wonderfulness of the sundown, or of the stars shining so quiet and bright, or the exquisite, delicate thin curve of the new moon in the spring. These with the rest, one and all, are to me miracles, the whole referring, yet each distinct in its place. To me, every hour of the light and dark is a miracle. Every cubic inch of space is a miracle. Every square yard of the surface of the earth is spread with the same. Every foot of the interior swarms the same. To me, the sea is a continual miracle. The fishes that swim, the rocks, the motion of the waves, the ships, with men in it. What stranger miracles are
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Very well read.
Beautiful.
Yes. Okay, so a second time, does everybody have a writing utensil?
Tristan.
If you don't have one, I have a couple pencils here. You need one? You need a pencil, Emmanuel? You need a pencil? What's your name?
Sure, how you doing? My name is Deidre.
Hi,
And I
Deidre.
just saw it and I figured I wanted to just drop by and
Thank you for
see
coming.
what you guys were doing over here for a little bit.
How did you find out about us?
I get all of the emails
Oh,
for the
excellent.
Heritage House.
Excellent. Thank you for
Wonderful.
coming.
Thank you so much for coming.
So I'm just, she's like, a minute, my name's Deidre.
I'm Relle.
Relle.
Relle the
How you
poet.
doing? Relle the poet or Relle the poet? D-A?
T-H-E.
Okay. Well, you know. We're poetic, you know.
Yeah, we had a little intro exercise, but everyone, this is DJ. If you don't want to just say your name, so we have everyone's name.
Poetic black.
Devontae.
Tristan. Curtis.
And
Liz.
Liz.
Hi.
Okay, Deidre, thank you so much for joining us.
So what do you guys do here?
Well, we're with the Green Earth Poets Cafe. I'm a program director, and this is a poetry workshop that we have monthly. It's for the youth, but adults are also welcome to join.
Cool.
And we explore different topics, learn different rhetorical tools. There'll be a second half of this workshop, which is an open mic. So we're specifically working on the theme of miracles today. But last time we worked on the presidency, and Mr. Tristan was Mr. President, so that's why I keep calling him that. We talked about, just
I was
basically,
vice president.
she was vice president.
Okay.
We talked about, what's going on with Trump and Hillary, how we felt about that, and how we could be better presidents
We are
than them.
going
We wrote our own
live.
poems.
Nice.
So
So
stuff
going
like
to
that. We'll have
Heritage
another
House?
one in January, as
Yes.
well as February, so
Yes.
hopefully you'll join us.
Nice. And that's Relle, right?
Yeah, Relle, R-E-L-L-E.
This is a 5-part series starting in October.
Okay.
All right. So
Thank
we're
you.
gonna- No problem. Thank you, Deidre. So glad to have you. So Mr. Devontae is going to read it a second time, and this time I want you guys to underline your favorite lines. Okay? So, just think about lines that really stick out to you and underline them, and then we're going to discuss afterwards, okay?
And we're going live.
Ready?
And we are live.
Why? Who makes much of a miracle? As to me, I know nothing else, know nothing of. Let me start again. Why? Who makes much of a miracle? As to me, I know of nothing else but miracles. Whether I walk the streets of Manhattan or dart my sight over the roofs of houses toward the sky, or wade with naked feet along the beach, just in the edge of the water, or stand under trees in the woods, or sit at the table, at dinner with the rest. Or look at strangers, opposite me riding in the car. Or watch honeybees, busy